Okay, so this is an absolute honour for me, Sean. I've been. It really is. It really is. When you guys got in touch, or Tessa got in touch with Housemasters, it was put out to the guys who write the content, the DJs, and everything else. And for me, this was like, yeah, yes, please. I definitely would like to speak to this man because he's been a massive influence in my music career. I was actually having a dig through a little earlier, and I found some of these.
So,
Yeah.
you're pulling out stuff.
Yeah. This is a badass track. And
was that solid ground? Because I can't.
Sorry.
I'm just a little bit so I can get into it a little here.
Well, this is one of Teddy's.
What's that? The caribou?
That's the violin.
The violin, yes, sir.
Oh yeah. And then what I was playing earlier in the week was some of the stuff from this.
Yeah.
Remember that? I think my fave was probably "God Help Those Who Help Themselves."
Okay.
Yeah.
People like so the interesting EP, that's for sure.
Yeah. No, this honestly, mate. So it's absolutely blown away. So, did you? I sent over just a sort of shot of things that we could talk about. Did you get that? Yeah. So really, it'd be great to sort of get an idea of the history of Spen, and I've got some things here to sort of prompt it, and then what's going on, your love of radio, because obviously that's where it all started,
right?
And then what's happening in the future, 2019, and all that sort of stuff, really.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds awesome to me.
Okay. So, sort of going back then, Web AM, and getting involved with that. I think you were in your teens, quite early teens. How did all that come about?
Oh man, let's see. I was listening to WEBB. Usually when I came home from school, it was one of those radio stations. I don't know how it worked in England, but as an AM radio station, when you came home from school, you only had like 2 hours to listen to it because, it would kind of go off at sundown and, it wouldn't come back on for, until sun up. So it was a sun up down station. And so immediately, we would come home and we would try to sit down and listen to, the latest hip hop and, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And these guys called the AP crew, man, they were doing mixes on the station, sort of like, 10-minute or 5-minute little mixes. And they would like mix everything like but the kitchen sink into one of these little things. And, I'd been downstairs in my basement messing around with that for kind of a while and thought I was like, and I'm young, man. I'm 13, 14 thinking, man, I can do that. I can do exactly what they're doing. So, I put one together. And it was, and I remember the song was Orbit, and the beat goes on, and sort of put my own sort of, spin to it, no pun intended, and begged my mother to take me to the radio station. I guess I behaved well enough that she said, all right, well, I'm going to go ahead and take you. And, I sat there and waited for a while for the guy to come out, and he came out and, he looked at me, like most older dudes, kind of, guru type dudes look at a young boy and like, yeah, you think you got something? What you got here? So he took the cassette, man, and I didn't really think much of it. Next day I came home from school and I turned on the radio and there was my mix playing.
Whoa.
Oh, and I was like, oh, I can't even believe this. So that was sort of like the beginning of it. I kind of formulated a hip hop group behind that, and we did quite a few things, and one of those things being very, it's true. Sort of.
Yeah. Was this the New Marks?
Yes, sir.
Right. Yes. Yeah. And the sort of the future of that was Milli Vanilli, I believe.
Yes.
Girl, it's true.
Yes.
Yeah. That was a massive track over here as well. You know that?
Yeah, man. I think it was a massive track everywhere. I mean, by the time it was said and done, we were looking at like somewhere close to 15 million sales.
Whoa.
Yeah, it was crazy, man. It was like at the time, a Stevie Wonder single hadn't even done that, and
wow.
yeah, we were quite happy with it, but we just couldn't make lightning strike twice. And it was kind of bittersweet because we wrote it for us,
Yeah.
but they made it kind of a big record. But then at the same time, we bought houses and cars and that kind of thing from that, and so it ended up working out okay.
Cool. And then, with the success of yourself on web comes the Flashback Saturday Night Dance Party.
Yes, sir.
Well, are you still doing this as well?
No, I haven't done that, man, since the late '90s. And actually, the guy that was working with me by the name of KW Griff is a guy that I handed it to literally in the late '90s, and he's still doing it. I don't understand.
Yeah, because it's like a legendary show. You started it, you grew it, you made it what it was. And
sort of laid the foundation for what it was or what it is.
What it is.
It's interesting because here in Baltimore, we have a baseball team called the Baltimore Orioles, and over the years, the biggest thing on AM radio, or actually on radio period, was when they were on a Saturday night, or they played on a Saturday night, there was nothing ratings wise that could even come close to touching it. Saturday Night Dance Party, blew them out.
That's it, yeah.
Yeah, it was interesting, man, because the things that you never expect to happen are the things that just kind of happened, and it just sort of happened organically, without you even really trying too hard.
Yeah. So how important is radio for you, even now? And obviously you're making amazing records, touring consistently and everything else, but where does that sort of sit for you in terms of importance and making you the DJ and the man and the producer and everything else that you are?
It's very important, actually. And a lot of times, and let me give a shout out to my man Steve Ripley, who kind of does a lot of our UK promotion, as far as radio is concerned. It is important to me because nightclubs are nightclubs, and nightclub music is a lot of times just confined to just that. And we do a lot of songs and a lot of things that transcend the nightclub, the barriers of just four walls.
Yeah.
Of people sort of going in and dancing. So radio from that aspect is really important because we do records like Barbara Tucker and Susu Bobian and Kenny Bobian and Tracy Hamlin and Tasha LaRae, and we work with so many incredibly talented vocalists. To just have a Sheila Ford record that just sort of sits in DJ's bags and not transcend or not even make it through the barrier that is radio, and it's quite it's hard. It's not easy to do, especially when you're in an independent label, trying to get your record sort of heard by the masses. But radio is important. I mean, it's the way that most people listen to music still to this day. With everything happening with Spotify and Pandora, it's sort of changing quite a bit. A lot of stations aren't, making the kind of money that they used to make, but they're still here and still very important. So I think, especially for us in the music that we're doing, radio is definitely.
So when you were doing your shows, what is it important for you to because it depends, I think, on people. Some people, they don't set out their sets; they just play randomly. But
Right.
for me as a DJ, radio DJ, I can't do that. I've got to know what I'm playing,
Sure.
on my show. And I just wondered if you had that sort of same mentality yourself, or a little bit more free flow, or what was your attitude to it?
Maybe a little bit of a combination. My especially when I was doing like Flashback Dance Party, a lot of time I would just walk in, man, with no idea of where I'm going, and sort of rely on the requests that were coming in.
Right.
And the requests that came in sort of fit with the vibe that I was sort of going after at the time. I would play it. So in that, from that standpoint, the organic part is nice. But I tend to be more like you, man. I like to plan through some things, really sort of get an idea of where it's going to go.
Yeah.
And then, try to execute it at that point, not holding too hard to what I planned out, to leave some room for God to come in the room and do what God does, sort of. That's kind of the way I was, sort of approaching it at the end
there. Yeah. And then obviously you're going to get a lot of promotional music as well. People wanting to play your music. It's quite, it can be quite a lot of pressure with that, because you can be sent quite a lot of stuff, and if you don't please everybody, sometimes you can there can be fallout from it as well. What was your approach, or what's your approach to that?
Well, pretty young, man. I developed this thing where you're not going to please everybody. It's impossible to do. It's impossible to do. You'll please a few people with one thing, and you'll make some people upset with another thing. And then there's this, one thing that, I try to keep in mind is just, if you please yourself, other people will kind of follow, especially if you're genuinely pleasing yourself with the gift that God is giving you. Then, so that's a tough question, man. And I think it plagues everybody who's, sort of a DJ in a way, because it's like, oh, well, I thought that, you're playing too old. Oh, no, you played that song for way too long. I mean, it's 12 minutes. You had to play the whole 12. I mean, it's, all kinds of.
Yeah, but some records, you look at them, they are 12 minutes long, and they're worth listening to for 12 minutes as well, though.
Exactly.
Exactly. I would say that there are records on the quantized tip which are certainly like that as well. And when you talk about the radio, that's where you really get the quality of it, if you like. The sound.
I say this, man, doing radio edits for people who have no real patience. Doing radio edits are just, it's like taking something that you put together that's meant to be a 7-minute record, cutting it down to 3 minutes is so difficult.
Yeah,
it's a task all by itself, So, and I hate for other people to do my radio edits, because it's like they never really get the essence of what it is that I want them to put in it. But then when I sit down and do it, I'm like, I can't get the essence of what I want to do anyway. I may as well. It's a very tedious and grueling process doing radio edits.
Well, I didn't even know that. I just thought, you snip it here, snip it there, and voila. But then, as you say, you're trying to consolidate a beautiful song that you've already made into a much smaller amount of time. So, yeah, pretty tricky.
Yeah,
it's an
interesting process. It is.
Yeah. Sure. How are you for time, Spen?
How much time do you need?
Well, I'm just sort of coming through just to, I guess, the sort of second half of things that we're talking about, really.
Okay.
I was going to sort of speed forward in the 90s to, I know we're sort of going back and forth, but I really wanted to talk about Spen, Jasper Street Company, and of course, Basement Boys and Basement Boy Records as well.
Okay.
And I wanted to sort of tie it in with where you sort of broke, if you like, from being a radio DJ. Yes, you'd had your releases earlier that we talked about, but from where sort of things changed then for you and your life and working with these people.
Okay, go ahead.
So
I have a little bit more time here, so then let's go ahead.
Okay, so how did all of this come about? Because I'm assuming everybody's from Baltimore. Everybody is involved now in what we're referring to as the Baltimore house sound. But how did it all happen? And
oh man, that's a good question. I would have to say that at least the dance aspect of the Baltimore thing sort of generated from Basement Boys. At the time that we were doing hip hop stuff, They were working working in a basement, not too far from us, perfecting their sort of dance music sound. And they had at the time worked on a couple of things. One, I think their first record was like "Don't Blame Me," or no, or "Love Don't Live Here No More." One of the two. So, I mean, but they were working on perfecting what they were doing. I mean, we were okay. We were kind of a little bit of a regional sort of success as a hip hop group. And then we decided that we wanted to do sort of like this up tempo sort of record called "Do It Good." Now, "Do It Good" was initially a hip hop record, but it was relatively up tempo. And we decided that we were going to ask the Basement Boys to remix the record for us. So we recorded the record. They remixed it, and it was the first time that we had done a record on our own record label, which was Marx Brothers Records. Long story short, man, their version was the version that everybody played. Our version kind of was played a couple of different places, but their mix of "Do It Good" was just all over the place. I mean, everybody who was playing dance music was playing that record. So I was trying to figure out, okay, well, what's going on here with these guys and this sound? And so the New Marx thing was kind of fizzling out, and here they come with Gypsy Woman and Alternate Taste, Blue Notes in the Basement album. So I'm like, man, look, let me go over here and see what these cats are doing. So I started out doing some things with them as a pre-producer, doing some songwriting, and that sort of thing with them. And I probably did that for about a good 3 or 4 years. But the essence of that sound, up with this kind of earthy house sound. And you hear them tell it, man, all they were trying to do was replicate the records that they loved out of the disco era, pretty much. And that's how it started. And then one thing led to another. Next thing, I was kind of really in with them, and sort of produced my first production on Basement Boys Records. My first full production sort of solo was "A Feeling" by Jasper Street Punk. And the rest of it came from there. But I mean, as far as the sound is concerned, it has gospel roots. It has gospel roots. Bottom line, it has gospel roots. It has disco roots, and it also has the house element in it. And we tend to like really big, powerful background vocals, and same thing with the lead vocals, or quirky. It's either like they've got to be really powerful or they've got to be really quirky. So that's like the essence of the sound that I believe you're talking about.
Absolutely. And I've been playing to death, literally speaking, your latest track as well with Teddy Douglas, "My Soul is Witness."
My Soul is a Witness.
Whoa, that is dope. It really, really is, right? And I love all of it, but that bass sound with that almost like trumpet sort of sound in it as well. Do you know what I mean? How did you do that?
It's interesting, man. I mean, like working with Teddy Douglas and Tommy, those two guys, man, they have a very unique sort of perspective on what it is that they like. And I remember, man, the original bass line was just sort of a regular sort of walking bass line, but Teddy sort of pushed the brother. He pushes until he kind of gets a particular sound, which is like really good, not being pushed by him. And and Tommy's the same way. They just released Expect Ordinary. That bass line, man, is a culmination of like 3 different bass lines. One doing one thing, the other one doing another, and then the other one doing like another. And literally, it's like almost no for no, like boom, 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 boom. Then the other one would come over.
Yeah,
Then the next one would go.
yeah.
So it's like it's a tricky one. It's nothing that's normal. That's just crazy. What happened with that, right? It's really, really nuts.
Yeah. I mean, some of the B lines on your own music as well, and tracks on Quantize, they've got the same sort of element of this real bounciness, which really takes you up, and it's real sub level as well, isn't it? I mean, you're so close to almost going too far, if you get me.
It is.
I admire that.
It's man. This stuff, everything that we do, pushes some boundary. You know, I mean, a lot of engineers, we drive them crazy. Because a lot of times, you know, and even though we're trying to do like a lot of things that would sound sort of easy and organic to you know, the normal person, a lot of times, man, it's just like it pushes some barriers, and it'll be like right there, and they'll be like, what? That's like, you know, is that even legal for an engineer to do? Like, that's all right.
Yeah. How did it? Yeah. I get it. So that sort of leads us quite nicely into, because it's the end of the year now. Are you just chilling now for the rest of the year, or?
Oh no. That won't be happening until probably probably not till the 20th of December, because got a lot of things that we need to put into the system before the whole industry shuts down between like the 15th and the, you know, 1st or 2nd or whatever it is of January.
Okay.
So there's quite a bit that we still need to do before we can call it a vacation.
Yeah. Can you elaborate on that at all in terms of music projects or even events?
Sure. So there is a Tommy Davis track that he has recorded with Tracy Hamlin on lead vocals called "Isn't It a Shame," which is a remake of the Patti LaBelle classic "Done Dance."
Nice.
So that's coming. There's also a Timmy Regisford single coming. Oh man, and I can't remember the name of it.
That's okay, no pressure.
Man, I can't remember the name of it anyway. But you're gonna have to walk around with me. That way I'll remember stuff.
All right.
Hope it's not going. So okay, Timmy Regisford track that's coming. I've got an album from Quentin Kane and Simon Sheldon coming on really project. The Timmy Regisford record is called "Falling in Love." That should have been. But yeah, so I have a whole album coming on Quentin Kane and Simon Sheldon called Exodus. Got a Bianca Gerald record that I've done with Earl Tutu and John Kahn and this cat out of Leeds called Let It All Go. Opo Lopo remixes of I Need Your Lovin', that's coming as well.
Yeah.
And that is, and the Timmy's album in January. Timmy's album is going to be a big thing, and also an album from a dude named Mike Freak, which is on Quantize. And I've got a Sterling Void track that's coming in January that is going to be pretty good. It's very interesting for a Sterling Void track. So yeah, I needed to do that to refresh my memory. Otherwise, man, I'll be like, I don't know what I have coming.
Oh, that's cool. Thanks for sharing that with me. If you need any help at all with promotion or anything like that, you know where we are. Yeah.
And Tessa makes sure that she sends you everything.
Yeah. No, that would be awesome. Big one for next year, 51st State.
Yeah.
Back with Basement Boys crew and with the other guys as well. Looking forward to that.
Yeah, man. Looking forward to it too. And was that 51st or is that actually no? We are not. That's not 51st. We're doing Sunset Beat, from what I remember. But I don't know. You know, it's so much, man, that's going on that it could be a 51st state thing. I'm not sure.
Okay.
Yeah,
Are
so I'm
you?
looking forward to that. If it is, man, it's on.
Yeah, I'm there. I'm there. Trust me. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've got my ticket already. I can't wait for it. And what else? What else is looming on the horizon? Anything else you'd like to tell us about?
Well, Susu Bobian, Love Sensation, is now we're doing our American promotion on it, and we're hoping we get a #1 Billboard
Whoa.
record with that. But right now it's sitting at number 22 on its way sort of up. You know, it's one of the biggest added records on the Billboard Dance Chart this week. So, you know, we're excited about that. Really, really excited about that. And man, I'm thinking that. Oh, and Jasper Street Company album. You like Jasper Street Company, so Jasper Street Company's album will be on Nervous Records, and that should probably be out in like February, March of
Cool.
next year as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's gonna be a big thing, man. It's gonna be big, and I think that's about it.
Fantastic. DJ Spen, Sean, thank you so much for your time today. It's absolutely brilliant. There was one other thing I'd love to ask you, if you'd be prepared to, whenever you have the time, sir. Would you do a guest mix for my radio show?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Appreciate, you know, this. I'll sort it out with Tessa and everything else. So there's no pressure. Whenever you're ready, yeah. But that would be amazing, man. If we could have that.
Nah, man, no problem. Sure, absolutely.
We all love
like an hour, or what's the time limit? Hour, 2 hours?
Yeah, my show's a 2-hour show, so yeah, it would be an hour. So. Okay. You know what I'd like to do. I mean, is it provided everything gets signed off and you guys are happy with the content for our interview, then I will probably be running that not this Wednesday, but the following Wednesday, if that all sits okay with you. And then in terms of a GM, yeah, as I say, whenever you're ready, if you want to do something in the new year, that's cool.
Okay. And you're saying you're not this Wednesday, next Wednesday?
Yeah.
I'm just trying to work out in my mind if I have time to do a 1-hour mix before that.
Yeah, look, Spen, if you don't and you want to do something the following week, that's cool. Or again, as I say, if you'd like to do something real special in the new year, that's fine as well. Whatever time frame suits you completely.
Okay, gotcha. All right, leave it with me. Let me see what I can come up with, man. And get to you hopefully by the end of the week. But just remind Tessa for me.
I will.
Just tell her that I told you that I was going to do it. And I'm pretty sure, man, to get you an hour mix shouldn't be too hard.
Absolutely amazing. Brilliant. Right. Yeah.
All right.
Once again, absolute pleasure, and thanks so much for your time today. I really appreciate it. And if I don't speak to you before, have a great Christmas.
And likewise to you, man. Thank you again for everything.
Cheers. Bye-bye.
All right.
Bye.